What's up and welcome to Idle Insights, a show where each week I, Treavor Bettis, talk to interesting people about Idle Champions and Dungeons and Dragons. And with me this week is returning guest Alicia Marie. Hello! Yeah, now we gotta do the wave again. Fun fact, this is totally the first time we've done this. We didn't already record this intro. Nope. And yes, it is pre-recorded. Yes.
I'm happy to be back.
Yes.
Haunting these hallowed halls. One thing I wanted to mention to all of you, in case you were concerned, I'm actually not in a castle.
I mean, I'll be honest. I feel like if you were, you would be a fire hazard right now. You are recording at the bottom of a set of stairs, so.
I was hoping to fool you all into thinking I was really in Baldur's Gate Castle or something, but there's a big crease right here, so it just sort of ruins the illusion. I hope it's okay. No,
it looks great. It's fine. And the best part of all, you're not a fire hazard right now, so that's the best part.
Torch and everything. We're working it out. I'm feeling good about it. I'm here. I'm standing.
Yes.
I have a carafe of some sort of energy beverage.
There we go. We're ready to talk, chat. We are ready to talk.
Yes.
Alicia, how are you doing out there? You doing good?
I'm doing good. So it's October. Mm-hmm. We're in the middle of October. So as is the custom right now is definitely the time to contact all of your favorite costume makers to see if they can make you a Halloween costume.
Of course, for free, because they're your friend.
When you do it, they definitely have time to squeeze in your entire big armor build for $50, by the way.
Yeah, 100%.
Just ask.
Yeah. You can make me look like Bastion from Overwatch, right? Yeah, like it's no big deal. Is everything's good? Yeah. Okay.
What is that about? Like that? I don't know. It's a whole different discussion. But yeah, the last 3 days has been, hey, give time.
Got some time. Yeah, everyone has time. We all have time.
Please think about what you want to be. This is a public service announcement for everybody who's out there. If you have a costume idea for next Halloween, start thinking about it right now.
100%.
Right now.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Well, chat, yes, we are doing a pre-recorded episode today, but you can still enter for a chance to win 42 chests in the middle of this episode somewhere that are awesome mod. Oh, wait, Lauren's going to do it. I'm your awesome mod right now. I know that's confusing, but Lauren will be putting into chat later at some point the giveaway because I don't know how to do it. But
Liar's Night.
Oh yes, but before we get into Liar's Night, I wanted to start with my icebreaker question. And you've been on 3 episodes this year. I had to keep going through my list of icebreaker questions for returning guests, and this one's gonna be: when was the first time you DM'd?
Okay, so the first, but it was my first and my only time. Not because I don't want to do it more. It's just, as DMs will know, it requires a lot of prep.
Yep.
DMing it's a lot of work, and it's something I definitely found out my first time. I DM'd a one shot last year, and I called it The Glass Painter's Daughter, and it was a story that I ran through. And 4 of my friends played it. We did it live, and it was. Of course, I was nervous. My first time DMing, I did it live on a stream.
That's a lot. That's pretty intense.
And then, because you have the other facet of DMing live, which is the time frame you have to stick to. And that's knowing, at least what I was told, knowing where you have to hit those points. Like at 15 minutes in, you should be here. At halfway in, you should be here. Like that part of it adds another layer of stress to DMing. But I liked it. Number one, because I like RPGs and I like D&D and I like characters, like playing with them, but being behind the screen was so intriguing because it was like seeing everything before it happens, because guess what? I'm the one that's making it up as it's going along. So I was like, wait, I can decide what happens next. It was like mind-blowing. The one thing that did throw me off was, and this is me because I'm a new DM, so of course I have like one interaction with 11 different ways it could go. Players never do.
No.
What?
No. Absolutely not.
I'm like, this what? Like, okay, here's just one instance. This was right in the beginning of the thing. There was a big, giant turtle, but it was a big mound, but it was really a turtle. Remember Neverending Story with Morla? And like pulling things from pop culture into games for jamming. But there was a giant mound. And I was like, you guys come up to it. You know, what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna there's a big, it's blocking your entire, like, you look, it's blocking for like a half a mile one way. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go over, what are you gonna do? So the players were all looking at each other going, well, I mean, I guess this must be some mountain. And I'm thinking in my head, I have like, they're gonna go over it, they go to the right, this happens, they go to the left, this happens. All of them were like, we burrow and go under it.
That's the most quintessential player experience I have ever heard in my life. You literally planned for every possible direction, and they went, nah, we're just gonna go through it.
We're gonna borrow. And I'm sitting here going, this is the beginning of the game. I had something that happened on the right, something that happened on the left, something happened if they went to the top and stood there, something happened, they flew over it. So I had to like I hope they didn't. I hope it was a good poker face. All right, this is what.
Oh man, yeah.
So I've been very lucky to know and be able to speak to some really good DMs like yourself, that tell me, you know, it's really just being flexible and confident, and just so there's a lot of making up as you go along, and that's why a screen exists.
Yeah,
you can't see me behind the screen going shuffle, 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 shuffle. And so
yeah,
but I had such a good time doing it, and I do intend to get back behind the screen again. It just I just want the time to put the story together. I have a new story.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm still a noob, so it's not like it's level 20 B Dave. It'll be probably everyone says that level 5 to 7 is really sweet spot.
That's the good stuff right there. Yeah.
So that's where it'll probably be. So
nice. Yeah. No, the flexibility behind the screen is because players, again, they will never do what you think. Even when I write out an adventure, I'm sitting there and going like, if they do this, respond like this. Like I've had to almost become more vague with what this is. Where like it used to be where it's like, oh, if they turn down the plan, then this happens. And I've now essentially had to go to, if they are aggressive in any way, this happens.
Really?
Yeah, because like it would be something like if they if like that example, if they turn down the plan, but they would be like, we pull out a dagger and point it at them, and I'm like, why? Why?
Oh my God, that's like, that is about, you're absolutely right. And this is funny, coming from the player seat mostly, I do see how we do that stuff. How we torment our DMs without realizing. No wonder they're like, roll initiative. You looked at it, roll initiative. You walked in the room, roll initiative. Do you get off the boat? Roll initiative. Because we are constantly going, I take my blade out and point it at for no reason. You're right.
I have like this year I've been way more of a player than I am a DM, and in my home game, being a player now and being on the side of the screen where the chaos is coming from is weird for me. And I had this character who I had thought out, and I'm just like, I kind of have to make her the face because we're just getting into a lot of shenanigans and not getting the info that we need.
Face card. Nice. Don't mind them.
Yeah, it's just like, no, sure. Yeah, we'll talk about the halfling getting into a relationship with the goblin leader later. Where was that magic device you were talking about? It's down there. Sweet. Go ahead and keep talking.
Face. Roll deception. Roll persuasion. What's your charisma? -4.
Yeah, but no, I believe in you, Alicia. I would be thrilled to be a player in a game of yours. So
really?
If that ever the opportunity is there, I will take a seat, 100%.
Really?
Yeah. So keep doing it.
It's you know what, I juggle with like wanting to be like, yeah, super serious at times and then wanting to be goofy at others. And I kind of take a page from watching people's games where they have like a healthy amount of like the drama. And the, yeah, you stepped in a landmine and you blew up, like stuff like that. Like, well, it's funny to me. So it's kind of like going back and forth between and what would make the most enjoyable experience for the players, because as a DM, I want to see people having fun, of course. It's a story that we're all writing together, but I want them to write most of it. So that's where I'm like, where to put, like, yeah. So that's why I have to watch you guys do what you do, because it helps watching you guys do it, how you do it, because every DM is,
you got to get the
different.
vibe. Yeah. I call my games they're in the same vein as Saturday morning cartoons, like the early 90s ones, that way that there's messed up things that are happening, but also, Donatello's eating all the pizza that fell off the back of the truck. So
I love pop culture.
Who am I kidding? That'd be Michelangelo. But anywho, I got changed subject because you and I could talk about this for an entire episode. But we are here today.
Everything for an entire episode.
We really could. I mean, but we're here today to talk about your new character in Idle Champions. You had a familiar earlier this year, and now you have Thellora. Tell me who Thellora is.
Oh my gosh, like I cannot even, why are there crumbs on my mouse pad? ADHD. I cannot tell you how happy Thellora makes. I mean, Misty makes me freaking happy. Thellora makes me extremely happy. Now, like I said, I just love pop culture, anything 80s, 90s. I have to love it. Thellora in my mind is if you took She-Ra and merged her like with the grace and majesty that was like the last unicorn. So you had this like powerful sort of like, for the honor of, with like this majestic sort of questioning, am I the only in the world unicorn? That's what she is. So of course she's a centaur. To give you a little bit of her story, she belongs to a very powerful order of sentinels called the Luma. And I mean, her backstory is really sort of long, convoluted, so I don't want to lay it all out for you. At some point, I'm going to have to put her story up somewhere, because people are asking, we want to read about it. We want to read what it is, because it is, this character, pulling her together last year. So I've had a while to be working on like who she is and what she is, her backstory. I know everything about her, where she comes from. And I think I'll put it up just so in case for those of you who plan on getting yourself a centaur in your library of characters, you'll know who she is, and it'll make it that much more fun to play her, because that's what we are. We like to know who our characters are. But so she belongs to this all-female regiment of sentinels, and she's a paladin. So the god that she worships is actually a big sort of mountain, or it's like the concept of a mountain. So, but this mountain is a volcano. So it is said in the lore of her people living in this big sort of wide open area called Kalawood, that a beast lives within this mountain. Okay. Centuries ago, it erupted and it ended up doing a lot of damage to the area. And it was said that this god, came down and stomped the demon back down into the mountain, came from the heavens and stomped it back into the mountain. And that's where this evil sort of energy that they've named Solemnar, because that's the sound that the ancestors heard when this monster came out, and it rolled down the hills, burning things in its path, making all this noise. This thing came down the heavens, stomped it back. So they believe that their job is to sort of be watchful of this mountain, and to be ready for when Solemnar returns. And the nickname for the mountain is Mount Theora. and they call her Big Sister.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the lore story that when I do put it up somewhere for you to read, you'll be able to see more. You'll understand what happened when Solemnar came out of the mountain, where Thellora's people, how they ended up in Caliwood, and then even better, why it's called Caliwood.
Oh,
that's my favorite part of the story. Oh yeah, I'm a writer, so it's all over the place. So yeah, and actually why Thellora is adventuring in Idle Champions Presents is because every now and again, each one of the Luma, which is what the Sentinel Order is called, they have to go off an adventure and become stronger because they learn as they work with different groups of people. So they have to go off alone. And there's only like 50 of them. And they're all distinctly, there's only 50 Luma. They're all distinctly known by the fact that they have one of their eyes is gold. And when it's blue, and it's the right eye because the way the game is. I know how the game actually plays, so it's the right eye. And this is part of I've sort of looped her eye color into like divine sense for paladins. This glows gold, very bright. Her powers are radiant. So yeah, this character is very, very thought out. There's a lot that went into her character design, her powers, what she does, her weapons, her familiar.
Oh, it's so cute. Is it Lumi? Is that what it is? Is that the name?
Yes.
Oh gosh. Little prance.
Okay, obviously I was just saying that I love pop culture. I think most of us do because nostalgia is very it makes us feel a certain way and it brings us back to simpler times. So it's comforting, and that's how when I create a character, sometimes I will always pull in something that makes me feel comfy.
Yeah.
And so Lumi is sort of like My Little Pony, but my little fire elemental.
I love it.
So that's what she is. All of her powers. She's sort of crispy. She's like this little pony that it's funny because Thellora is like this majestic horse, and you have this little pony that like prances alongside her with fire hair. And one of the things that we Treavor and I were talking about earlier is that I wanted Lumi to sort of bounce the way Pepe Le Pew bounces. Remember when he was in the game, he would always be like, in the cartoon, he would bounce like this after the cat.
Yep, like so the most terrifying Michael Myers. Yep.
Kevin's like, and they were actually that's actually how Lumi moves in the game. So
it looks spot on.
It just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
When they showed me the tests for it, I was dying laughing. I was like, they nailed it. It's perfect. And everything looks so good. I like what they did with her harmonium armor. How the changes the design, when you have the harmonium armor on her, she has specific character designs that change the way she looks, her hair, her tail with the braids. Everything sort of has a reason, so you should pick her up just so you can see her, just so we can all be excited about horses together.
It's pretty awesome because like Thellora is the first centaur champion that we've had in the game. That's why I kind of like the whole the last unicorn thing. You're just like, oh, am I the only one? Right now, Thellora is the only one.
I was like, as always, when I met with the team to talk about like developing a character, they're like, what do you? And I love it that you guys are like, what you got for us? And I'm like, you hear me out.
So fun fact, your character design call was the first one I'd ever been in because that's when I started doing the writing thing, and. I loved that call because you came in there essentially with the attitude of like, all right, strap in. And it was so like you were just talking about this stuff. I'm like, where is she pulling this from? And it's just like, no, it's all Alicia Marie right there.
I was like, she's my dream. I was like, and it's funny because when I first posted the announcement of her, so many people wrote to me going, oh, I love him.
Yes.
I loved him when I was a kid. And I was like, same. And I'm Sagittarius, so that's where it first started. I was a kid. I was like, it's a beautiful horse, but she has like a beautiful long ponytail you can comb and braid. And then she's like tall and like her hair flows and she gallops and stomps and prances and canters.
All those fun horse walking descriptive terms.
I will be overusing those terms in the game in Idle Champions. I will be overusing canter and broadside and gallop. Yes.
I don't believe it. When we do the wrap up talk, I'm gonna be like, so you tired of it? And I bet you're not.
I want an advent of centaurs being played in game now. I mean, there's nothing hoof stomp. Hello.
Yeah.
Imagine how terrible. Even as a medium-sized creature, it's like rear up, boom, and then she has a sword for the extra attack. What? Let's go.
One of the things I want to talk to you about though that I absolutely loved, because both you and Gina knocked this out of the park, where like, you know, the premise of this was like, okay, you're from somewhere else out in the multiverse. And, you know, with Thellora, you very expertly made this like not feel like the Forgotten Realms, and I really enjoy that. It's just like you're talking about like her people, the volcano, the god, and everything. I'm like, this is stuff that we don't have in the Sword Coast. We don't have a population of centaur people who are, you know, believing in this god and stuff like that. That is so freaking cool. And it so I do have to ask, do you, because you got all this down there, and it's okay if you don't have this, do you have like an idea of a name for the plane that she's from?
I don't, but that's such a great idea. Because what I never really thought about it, because I came up with the land, but I wanted it to be able to fit in the world. So I was like, maybe I'm gonna have to some point pick one that exists. That's what I thought I would have to do. But if I don't have to, don't get me started, because I will write out the entire plane.
I'm not the guy in charge on this. I'm just a lowly writer who 100% endorses you writing whatever the heck that you want.
Really?
You know, you just do you. We'll see what happens, you know.
Oh.
I think that'd be cool.
My brain is now.
I should have mentioned this at like the 49-minute mark instead of the 22nd.
Yeah, hold on. I apologize. I mean, you guys who've seen me before, you know, I'm extremely ADHD, so I have papers and lists. Every if I don't write it down, it's gone.
If
so
this chat who has been watching me for over a year is not used to ADHD, I don't know what y'all are here for.
Let's keep it 100 right now.
100.
Write this down. One thing, you actually said something that's interesting. The world is obviously, it's larger than Caliwood, so there are different areas that I will reference in the that's actually already been written. It's just that Thellora's specific type of centaur is in Caliwood. But there are other types of centaur that over the centuries, they look a little different, because really fast, when the plague happens, they began to be attacked by dragons. Centaurs had to spread. They went different areas.
Sorry, I just pictured centaurs fighting dragons, and that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
But their people were weakened because there was a plague. But the plague's explained in the story. Plague happened, that people were weakened. Dragons were like, ooh. Centaurs spread. They ran. And that's why some centaurs speak Elvish. Some speak different language. Thellora's people speak Elvish. And that's why in Idle Champions Presents, you'll notice I speak Norwegian sometimes. Because there are people that have said like that Elvish, we know what it looks like in writing, but what does it like phonetically sound like? And a lot of people have said it sort of sounds like Norwegian. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to, before we start the actual campaign, I'm gonna have to learn how to speak some things so I can throw those out like during combat. Like I know, like when she first rolled up to the people, she said "Good League," and it was like, you know, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I was like, I get to flex some Norwegian during, but that's her speaking Elvish, because her people specifically settled near where there were some elven sort of settlements, and so people picked up that language over time.
I love that. That's so cool. Oh, you did make me think though to like one of the times that I was a very obnoxious player at a table.
Thanks.
because I was playing at a game and we got to, we saw this city up ahead, and the person's describing it. It sounds like, like Baldur's Gate or anything like that, right? And we get in there and it is all centaurs, and I was just like, I have additional questions now. Like, are they pulling carts, or do they have horses that pull carts? What do the doors look like? Do taverns exist? Do they have tables? Like, it was as obnoxious as I was watching the movie Cars, where I was just like, why are there sidewalks? Why are there street lamps? Their eyes are lights. What are the bathrooms like? I would not stop. And my DM was just like, I'm not answering any of those. I'm like, you're right to do so.
Like, maybe the questions start coming. People say, okay, 4 legs, but what is happening? Wait, but there's 4 legs, but there's 2 arms. Like, wait, people were like, does she have a mount? Is she mounting a mount? Is she standing?
I told the DM, I'm just like, I'm gonna be honest, if we don't go to a fancy centaur ball in this city, I will be upset. We didn't get the fancy centaur ball. I was very upset.
It's so cool though. Because we're saying, I love hearing this because we don't get enough. I mean, even just in regular gameplay, people don't play centaurs, but I think it's because there's issues with climbing that like the mechanics have. So you have to sort of figure that out, whether you use feats to do it or you get magic items that allow you to fly or climb, because people try to figure out the mechanics of climbing with hooves, which can be kind of off. So people are like, I don't want to even give my character.
I would 100% give that character horseshoes of spider climb, because I just think that sounds hilarious.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, you look, I was
walks up, puts the 2 front on the wall, just
cowboy boots that are winged, so they can just. So she's like a Pegasus, but with the cowboy boots.
I love it. I love everything about it.
Just everywhere. It's just so I love playing characters that are just sort of. I like people's weird characters, so I like to come up with inspiring but interesting characters. So Thellora is like my favorite thing. So I was happy that you guys were like, I guess we'll see if we can make that. And then you came back like 2 days later. Let's go.
100%. Well, so you mentioned Idle Champions Presents there. How did Thellora's introduction into Idle Champions Presents go?
You see, okay, so it's always going to be I don't want to say difficult, but it's always going to be sort of awkward when you're walking into a crew that already knows each other. Anytime you're playing a game, I've done a lot of one-shots where I've guest appeared, where you have to, like, your job is to come in and sort of just get rid of that awkwardness so that you can just meld with the crew for that one game.
Yeah.
This is an entire campaign. I've done it with Children of Aeryn, where that's a crew of people who've played like 3 or 4 different campaigns together. We have Nahara's in there. We have Mark Mears, Uriah. We have Megan Kenrex, Riddle. So my Thellora and Jang So, who is Gina Darling's character, are the newbies.
Yeah.
So so the 2 of us are, we're rolling in, and our characters are still they're in real time developing who they are and their voices. And you saw little snippets in the first game, but the first game was definitely hardcore. Who are these people and why are they here? That's what the first episode, that's what B Dave was really adamant about, just making sure that we do establishment session 1. But you already see a little bit of stuff coming out. Like, Thellora is a very proud character. She's proud of what she is and what she's supposed to be. But then there was a part where, the DM is like, a little bit of doubt. Are you fighting for the thing you think you're supposed to be fighting for? So that made Thellora like sort of question things for a minute, but it put fear in her heart too, because she's born and bred to be what she is. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds, if that's a whole nother sideline thing that I never thought Thellora would have to feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she walks in and she's like, I'm here to do this job with these people because it's part of my training as a Luma. But there's knowing you, Dave, it's going to be chaos after chaos, and she's gonna have to roll with it.
Yeah. I really like that Thellora and Jangsao, like your and Gina's character, got to like have that brief moment where the two of you saw each other first and then the rest of the group. Like that was kind of neat. It would just be like, these two people are new, but but I feel like that kind of like gave the two of you like a little bit of a connection there.
Yes.
Before everyone else was brought in with y'all, which I thought was a great little beat in the story.
I did too, because it is like we said, like and then DB Dave knew we're not new to the game. We're not new to D&D, but we're new to this crew that has definitely been playing together before, and also because they've played those characters for so long, they know who they are in play, which is a whole nother thing. Like you can write up a character, design a character, know everything about the character, but when you play it, that's where the character becomes who they are. And I mean, you have the accent sometimes can help you get in character. And
then sometimes you just lose the accent and you're accidentally just doing a bad impression of Jack Sparrow for 3 hours. I don't know that from experience.
Sometimes the accent sounds like it's from Texas. Sometimes it's from Scotland. Other times it's from, and you're like, here we are. And you know what? It's fantasy. Just roll with it.
Yeah, it's fantasy Scotland. It's what they sound like in fantasy Scotland.
Fantasy language, whatever. So yeah, I think it's just someone taught me once, and they said, do things before the actual stream to help you get into mental character before you get in, and that has really helped me to be immersed, like, and because I take this seriously. For me, it's the more I get immersed in the game and in the character, the more fun I'm gonna have. And I feel like the more relatable if people are watching. They're like, oh wow, yeah, she really felt that. Yeah, because I do. I've definitely cried in games before. So yeah, I with people who are watching and with people who are playing in the game, they're gonna be finding out who she is, and Thellora is finding out who she is as well, because this is her first like sort of sojourn away from her people to do her part, to learn how to fight without the people that she's been trained with. And that's why I think when we did our intro, I talked about how she sort of stood up and looked at Mount Tora. She looked at Big Sister, and then she looked back at her people who were standing there nodding like it's time, and then she blinked, and then she's standing in this like area, and Jangso is painting something, and she's like, okay, here I am.
I guess this is adventuring.
My whole personality is this big sword. Help.
My whole personality is this big sword. Help.
And Jangso's like, yeah, be useful. Stand there so I can paint you. And Thora's like, okay.
It's like, do I smile? Should I smile? Is that what I do?
I don't know what this is, but this is what I'm supposed to do, so I do it. Like, she's truly lawful neutral, so.
I mean, I always like ask this question, but I know it's a difficult question to answer in these sort of things. Do you have any hopes for Thellora through this Idle Champions Presents?
I always like to set up an end game for every character. Like I have like this evolution that they have to go through before the end. But because this is also a playable character in game, I didn't want to write it out completely.
Interesting.
Because I want people to be able to see their own sort of story in her, based on what her backstory is and based on what they know of who she is. I have a couple of little things that I need her to do in game, and I'm going to see what they are. B. Dave, sometimes I want to tell him this is what I accomplished, but other times I don't want to because I know he likes to mess with. and I want him to enjoy that.
B. Dave mess with players? What?
He's like, can I have your backstory? He's like, can I do anything I want with it? And I'm like, so I want to, but there are a couple things that she has to hit, but then there's a lot of open-endedness as well because of the fact that people are going to be playing her in game too, and I want them to have their own little thing going on with her.
That's fair. I
want them to connect with her too. Horsey. But yeah, I mean, just in general, she's a paladin, so there's definitely a certain order. We already know going in what she is.
Oh, I was gonna ask you, what paladin oath does she have?
She's Oath of the Crown.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was going back. I mean, there was a lot of. I mean, there's a few that she could be based on what she is, but that sort of fits her angle. The Watcher was a little bit too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interplanar, and I wasn't sure if that would fit with the story.
I have this weird opinion that I'm like, if you want to make the Doomslayer from Doom do a Paladin Oathwatcher, other than that, yeah, that one's a little rough to like get into a campaign.
Yeah, there are. I mean, and then you have the vanilla option, which is, you know, but I was like that. The crown to me is the order she follows and what she is, and in this, I will say she's not an oath breaker, so she's not that version, but there's things I want her to bend, that she's going to have to learn how to bend. And that's why I love when D-Dave said, what if everything you believe to be true? What if some of it wasn't? And that's why you saw the confusion on her face. Like, well, I don't know what that means.
Never thought about that before. Yeah.
Yeah. I want her to sort of explore that with this crew, because this crew that she doesn't know, it's gonna force her to make decisions that she might not, and I love that part of it. So.
Mm-hmm. You know, one of the characters is just, you know, sharing a body with a lich is all. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
It'll all be fine, Ronan. I mean, you know what's really, I'm gonna say this. I love watching, and this is my first time actually playing with Mark Muir. I mean, obviously he's a god at what he does. It is so much fun to watch people and players that just commit.
Oh yeah. Oh, I
mean,
Mark is one of the most like talented role players that I have seen, because I mean, like, I did the podcast editing for the show that these characters are from, so like I've heard every single one of these episodes that they did, and there were episodes where Mark was having Uriah and Aslan have a conversation for like minutes. What? And he was just going back and forth between them with no prompting or anything, and it was incredible to listen to, because I have been DMing for over 10 years. I hate doing that with NPCs where like they're talking to each other and stuff. I hate having to have a conversation myself. He was doing it like it was a pre-written thing, and it wasn't. That's not how he does stuff. Like, he completely does it off the cuff. It is wild.
I love that.
Oh yeah.
Because when you're playing, I mean, I obviously I like to commit.
Yeah.
When you're playing with other players that are just as invested, you're like, oh, I can go in with this then. So like watching him just do, like, I mean, take it to the moon, you realize you can just let go, and this is a safe place for you to really explore every avenue and facet of what you think that character is, like really, really get into the fantasy of what we are, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a blessing. So yeah, I'm having fun. I mean, this is my first time. I mean, I've watched him, but it's different being in it. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, even if you're watching, it's an experience to watch. I mean, everyone has been really amazing to watch. I loved Nahara. She's a goddess. Oh my god!
I was so happy she brought out the deck. Oh my god, and the cat. I missed the cat.
Like I did not realize that her cat was actually a storied character.
So that may be because the cat has made sounds that I couldn't edit out, and they knew that, so they just were like, you know what, the cat sounds are part of it.
The cat's like, I'm in this game now. Who are y'all? So it's just like, the cat is actually its own thing.
Well, here's the thing. When Nahara came to the game, her familiar is an illustration of her cat. So I think it's Seja. I can't remember how to say her name. But yeah, so her cat is in Idle Champions because she was in the background of the show so much.
She literally said, my cat is always around. It's not like I can put her somewhere else. She's gonna be there. She's like, I'm in the game. Game's happening. Hey, everyone, I'm here. She's like a show off type of cat, so she's just gonna be there. So it's smart just to put her in the game.
Yep, 100%.
So yeah, that, and then I think it's so cute, the riddle whittle squiddle whole connection. I was like, there's another one. Because I met Squiddle.
Yep.
And I knew she was playing Whittle in this game, but now I just met Riddle. So I was like, oh, I guess we have a family here. I didn't know that.
I remember when we got the marketing stuff for Squiddle, and I saw it, and I, in the middle of a marketing meeting, I just started clapping. I was just like, she did it again. Well done.
It's like she's like, you know what? It all rhymes. Make it work.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I love it.
And it's cute because they're all really different, but I like the fact that they do have that sort of cosmic connection somehow. So when Riddle came back, I was like, oh, we're seeing. So it kind of works. I also like her jacket. The jacket.
Oh yeah.
Judas Priest. I was like, I'm Judas Priest, so I was like, whoa.
There you go.
And then I mean, of course, meeting Jang. So I've gotten to play with Gina like in one shots here and there. But I do like her characters. I like the fact that she has no fear too, because that's how I am. Like in a game, no fear. She has no fear whatsoever. And so I'm enjoying the table, and it was only round 1. So
yeah, we still got a couple more episodes to go. But so we're getting towards the end of the episode, and here's the thing: we've done 3 episodes this year on Idle Insights, and I can't remember if we've actually talked about this, so I do want to talk about this now. Tell me about Children of Erte. You mentioned it earlier.
Okay, so Children of Erte it's a D&D game. It's DM'd by the illustrious Deborah Ann Wall, and the players are Lauren Oboe. You might know her.
Yeah, you might. She could be. Yeah, I think she's around. Yeah.
Lauren plays Carolyn Neb Stern. There's Jennifer Kretschmer, Dream Wisp. There is Adam Radford. He plays Silas. And then there's Hope Lavelle, who plays Robin Beckett. I play Feruza Armstrong, who is, I will say, she is a barbarian.
Hey.
So I get to play my martial. You know how much I love my martial characters. I'm the in your face. I'm the tank. I'm always going to be the one that's like, let's go. So it was. So Deborah wrote this whole world. Erte, the whole story. It's her. It's what she does. You know, she's a imagination type. She loves fairy tales and stories, so that's the way she writes. And she had this idea to create a campaign where the characters are all humans, and they start off as humans, and they're all going on a trip, and they're like, oh, hi, who are you? They think they're going on vacation, and then this train they get on together. They think they're just here on this trip. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'll say to myself. The train ends up taking a left turn somewhere. And now we're like 64 episodes in. So
has it been 64
changes. I know, right?
Oh my gosh.
Like we talk about evolution of characters, like the changes they've gone through. Every time they go to a different era, because they're trying to find their way back home. Because they're like, what is this? What's happening? Things are attacking them. They're becoming something different. So as a viewer, I know it was tough. You're a D&D viewer. You come into a game and you want to know, that's the paladin, that's the barbarian, that's the caster, that's the healer. This campaign was something Deb wanted to try for so long, where you maybe don't know what you are, and maybe you're turning into something, and maybe people. So what's cool is that the viewers who stuck around and really got into it loved being able to guess.
Oh, I love that.
What she did.
Yeah.
I think I know what she's becoming, because they had to guess the class and the race.
That's wild.
So it was weird playing that too, because I was like, well, I'm so used to playing, my character is a satyr and she is a druid and she casts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was more.
And I was just like, I'm just some person.
I'm a lawyer. And then to have to like sort of react like a human if all of a sudden you cast a spell and like, wow, I'm really strong today. What's happening? That was fun though. And then, of course, I mean, Feruza is 100% She-Hulk and Wonder Woman.
Hey, I love it.
She's a barbarian. She's a lawyer. Come on. People are like, I get it now. She's She-Hulk. So yeah, she's really, so that was fun, just because it was a different way to approach a campaign. And
yeah,
sort of stretched our imagination. And in that particular campaign, I jumped in with a crew that's like so comfortable with each other, because I've played multiple campaigns together, but they were so good at making me feel welcome, and also Thellora, that's Thellora. Ooh, Feruza fits like right. She fits right in with the crew.
I love it.
Yeah,
So
she's
did you know like the class and race, or were you also guessing on that too? Did you know that beforehand?
I did. I mean,
Okay.
I was able to come up with that.
Well,
Unfortunately, what? Go ahead.
Oh, I think that's a good thing to do from like a, you know, this being a stream show's perspective, because that allows you to give those hints when you want to. It's a little more organic that way. Yeah.
Yes, and I knew that mine was going to be, it was definitely going to be the easiest to guess first, but I wanted to make because I knew the class would be the one people would obviously. She's tall, but she's tall and skinny like olive oil, and over time she's getting a little bit. Wow, I have a muscle, so cool. But I wanted them to have more time to guess the race. The race. There's a few that she would be, but I had specific things that happened to her. Like I remember like episode like 30 something, they were fighting this creature they found in a cave. What is this? Because remember, they're humans in a fantasy world. They're not used to seeing spells and creatures that are made out of ice.
This is Narnia, but Narnia is like full of death.
Bingo. Exactly. So I remember Thellora had like this moment where I rolled a 17. What? And she was able to smash this creature that like, and I'm talking end it. And that's where like the DM says, tell us how you take this creature down. And I'm like, what? She just swipes at it with this great axe that she has. And the way I posed it was, you know, this is the first big kill that Feruza's had. And Feruza is an attorney. So she's like all buttoned up. And so this is like her like, oh, wow, I'm exploring this. I've never had strength like this. I've always had strength like this with the Harvard sweatshirts and everything, but I was able to take down this monster. And when she killed this creature, it's blue blood like splashed on her. And she's like, ah, and she's able to get it off. Like someone had prestidigitation, was able to take it off. But later on in the day, like that long rest, she wakes up, she goes to look in the mirror. And she has this, like the blood is still on her face, the blue blood. And she's like, oh my God, I have to get a facial. But the blue markings on her face from her first kill, so to signify the Goliath. And, you know.
Nice. Oh, that's so good.
She's like, it's not coming off. Do you see? And then people are like,
that's so good.
The castmates are like, oh boy, yeah, it's not coming off. It's not coming off. But this is the blood of her first kill, so it's markings.
That's
badass. That's what people go, Goliath.
Oh, that's so badass. I love that. Yeah, I've heard about this game a couple times from Lauren, obviously, but like I'm still just so amazed at it. Of like this is because you talked about how like players or not people come into a stream and they're like, oh, who's this, who's that, and you know, like I see people in chat all the time like, oh, you know, what level's the wizard and stuff like that. I kind of love flipping the script on that. Like if I had no prior knowledge of this and whatever, and I got into a chat and I'm just like, oh, what classes are they? And the chat was like, we don't know. That I'm strapped in and I'm ready to go. Like, that's fantastic.
Right? Like I remember when I was asked me, when I was like, okay, so what, you know, what level are we? She's like level 1. And I was like, that's not a game. What are you talking about?
That's the meat grinder.
She's like, hear me out. So then she said, oh yeah, you know, your character, you know, but you don't know. And I was like, what?
That's so
good.
It
was definitely something that was different. I was nervous on how to play it first, but then since all of us didn't know, it was like an experiment. And like I said, like the audience grew, and like they were more like, well, this is an experiment. Let's see what rolls, let's see what happens. And now now they're into it. Now there's a whole bunch of stuff that's happening, and our characters are more comfortable with what they're changing into and the powers. And now they're level like 6.
Oh,
the whole bunch of stuff is over. There's a whole, I mean, we're talking giant strength, like stuff. They're able to do a lot more damage, and like that's the fun part. We were weak as heck before. Like a few times we get taken down and death save.
Lauren has told me about a few of those that she's like, yeah, I've got a game tonight. Just really hoping I don't die in the first 5 minutes.
Dev is not a little non-relenting, and she's definitely told us, she goes, your character can get hurt. I want you to know that. I want you to know that if you get hurt, I would love to know that you can incorporate that into your character. So if your leg gets scratched, you make the scratch happen. You get nicked. You lose. Like, I don't know if there's an RPG called Traveler where things can happen to you, and that's permanent damage. Deb wanted us to be sort of like that. So the stakes are very high when we play.
Yeah.
Things can happen, but you really don't want your character to like get super maimed or something that would make it really difficult to play. So that's why if you'll notice, if you ever watch an episode, we are every angle of combat. We are like, okay, you're going to take it from the right. I'm going to come in second. After that, Lawrence, we have we have battle plans that have to go like to script when we write them because we want to make sure it happens. And Deb's sitting there like this.
I love it.
It's like, what is that? Your plan? And the DM just laughs. So
when the DM laughs, it's already too late. Yep. Well, Alicia, we gotta start wrapping things up because we got another show after this. But thank you so much for taking the time today and talk with me about Thellora.
Thank you. I mean, this is the most geeky fun ever to sit and talk with someone else who's also a massive geek and loves character creation and loves RPGs and likes just being able to wax poetic about things that like a certain type of person would enjoy. And also you guys that are watching.
Yes, you are that certain type of person as well.
Guys, we see you and we know that this is the one place, Idle Insights, where we can just go in and enjoy and just talk about this stuff because it is the one shining light, one of the many shining lights in our lives, our characters, and playing them. Yay.
Well, Alicia, if people want to find you and what you do on the interwebs, where could they do so?
You can find me everywhere at Alicia Marie Body because I do Alicia Marie Body because I do come from fitness. That was my original incarnation. I still do fitness stuff, but just not professionally anymore, really, because I'm more focused on artistic stuff like this and costumes. You can find me everywhere, and it's going to be RPGs, acting, and costumes, or every now and again, video games and my frustration. I'm now playing Baldur's Gate, which I absolutely love. If anyone has any idea on how to get Halcym's dead body out of my campsite,
I saw that post the other day.
I really appreciate it. Why? And I can't. I tried to revivify. I've tried. It says you can't revive this character, so it's just every camp. There he is, butt naked.
I hate my camp. I hate to say this. Have Carlock pick it up and put it in her inventory, and then just drop it somewhere outside of camp.
I think this is the end of the episode. It sounds so really bad. Great, Trevor.
We're literally talking about just dropping a dead body. We're fine, Twitch. It's a video game. Calm down.
And he was helpful. He was a good person. All right, I'll do that. Thank you. It's been real.
Chat, don't forget you can unlock Thellora right now in-game during the Liar's Night event. You can also check out Thellora and Jing's and all the awesome other characters that are in Idle Champions Presents Fatebreaker going on right now. That's on Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/CNE Games, the place you are right now, unless you're on YouTube later. But you can watch it later on YouTube as well. But yeah, that is going to do it for this week's episode of Idle Insight. So until next week, take care of yourself.